AI. So my name is Vamshi and I'll be your host and trainer today. So before we discuss or dive deep into this contents or the data science kind of things, okay. So let me introduce you or tell me about myself. So I've been working around 15 years into this IT field with around 9 years of experience into this AI and data science field. So right now I'm working as a research scientist in AI in one of the MERN companies. All right. So as part of my experience, right, I've been working for different kind clients and again different implementations into this field actually. Okay. So okay. So let me not boast about myself much. So we'll dive into the topics today. All right. So before this, I want to ask you people. So is there anyone? So is working in already into this field, data science, machine learning, or AI, anything, or any other data related fields? Audible, right, everyone? Can you hear me? Am I audible? So anyone please say, okay, fine. Thank you. Fine. All right. So guys, see, today, so these are the popular fields, right? So wherever you go, as part of your jobs or anything, okay, so in technology trends or something. So data science, machine learning, AI, and of course, the part of AI that is generative AI. Now, these are the technology trends, right? And of course, the data engineering field also as well. Fine. Now, okay, let me tell you something. So I haven't started, guys. I'll share my screen. Don't worry. Fine. So I'm asking you people. So, okay. So are you people working in data science or any other related fields? Any one of you? Okay. Well, I'm not getting any responses from you, right? Fine. Okay. That's okay. Fine. No problem. Okay. Now everyone is answering. Yes. Yes. Okay. Ismail Beg. So you're working into this field. So in which domain you're working? Worked as data engineer. Okay. Fine. Right. See, guys, I like the session to be interactive, right? Okay, so it's not like I'll tell something, you hear something, and again you go somewhere. Okay, so it's not like that. I like the session to be interactive. Now you can ask me something, I will respond to you something, I'll tell you something. So that's how we learn the things here. Okay, fine. Okay, so that's okay again. Now, okay, so let us dive deep into this things here. Now, what is data science? What is, again, artificial intelligence, machine learning, or deep learning, and again, the related field like generative AI today. So that is very buzzword, right? Now, all right. So now let us try to understand from the very basic point of view. So what exactly these things are? Now, even before this one, right? So, what are the traditional way of, like, so for example, things had been, and again, see how they worked actually, and again, see what were the things that, okay, so that led to this kind of systems here, okay, or technology advancements here. Now, in order to tell you something about data science, right? So, let us first of all try to understand the scenario before to this, all right? So, the traditional computing or some kind of things here. Okay, 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 okay. Fine. Okay. That's okay. All right, guys. Now, as you people know, I mean, see, I think you people know this one, right? Okay, so today, I mean, see, the data that we are living in, okay, so, or I mean, see, the data that is being generated today as per the data generation, right? So, data is classified into multiple types here. Now, people call it as different types or four different types, but as per the category, I mean, see, categories, right? So, data is classified something into structured, right? Semi-structured, and again, like say for example, some kind of unstructured, and again, the popular today. So, I mean, stream, stream data or real-time data. Fine. So these are the kind of data that we are working with. All right. Now again, see, let me tell you now what exactly this one. So why we are discussing this one, I'll tell you. So we are discussing the situation before to the data science or some kind of applications today. All right. Now, if you look at this kind of data, right? For example, let me tell you with some simple examples here, then you can understand very well. So what exactly the things are working in real world scenarios. So I would show you something, any other kind of example. All right. So now, as per the data generation, so data is being classified into structured, semi-structured, unstructured, and stream kind of data. Now, if you look at the structured data, right? So structured data, the name itself tells you which has some kind of predefined structure. The data, for example, the data that is stored in some kind of, I mean, like for example, table format. So in a table, right? So for example, SQL table, I'm referring to. All right. So the table, I mean, so the data will be stored in some neatly defined rows and column format here. Now, again, if you look at the data, right? So what are the kind of data? What are the type of data that is being stored here? So, for example, it is into some kind of number format or some kind of simple text and dates. And again, okay, so these are the kind of formats we see. Now, on the other hand, right, semi-structured data refers to some kind of data. I mean, like, so for example, some kind of web applications you see, right? HTTPS or some kind of, I mean, XML data. Okay, so HTML data. So these are the perfect examples of some kind of semi-structured data. And again, see unstructured data. Now, unstructured data is where, like, so for example, now we need to worry about. Because see, unstructured data, the name itself tells you the data which doesn't has any kind of predefined structure here. So it is into multiple formats today if you see it. All right. So for example, if you take the case of unstructured data, right? So we are getting the data in multiple different types here. For example, if you look at the file systems itself, now normally in real world scenarios, we work with some kind of native formats like CSV, Excel, these kind of formats, text files. But on the other hand, I mean, see, today we are working in hybrid environments. So where less some kind of development, testing, and some these kind of integrations are going parallelly, automation kind of world. So that is where, I mean, some specialized kind of files have been, I mean, came into the concept here, like JSON kind of files here. And again, if you look at the big data environments, right? So we have multiple other kind of formats like Parquet, Avro, ORC, some kind of file formats. Now, again, the other kind of, I mean, like, so for example, data, if you take it, right? So, for example, it could be some kind of spreadsheets or some kind of other kind of documents, PDF files. Or now, if you look at the other kind of format, so social media data. All right. So email data, messaging platforms. Now today we are dealing with n number of messaging platforms. All right. And again, search engines, IoT systems. Okay. So all these are the perfect examples of unstructured kind of data. Now, why we are discussing all these things is now see in the traditional kind of format, what happened is when the data was restricted to only some kind of simple format like CSV, Excel, or some kind of table data, right? We had some kind of compute resources. Now, in technological terms, we call it as compute resource. Okay, so compute resources. Now we had some kind of systems where we were to, I mean, like for example, involved in some kind of data extraction or transforming some kind of data, and again simply storing that kind of data after transforming or cleaning and performing certain other activities, right? So that's how the process involved. And again, after that one, we used to apply some kind of analysis on the data, so some kind of analytics kind of things here. And again, we came up with certain analysis from the data here. Like what, for example, sorry. So I would compare things like so for example, so what were the data? I mean, what were the sales here? For example, if I had some kind of sales data, right? So what were the sales last week and this week? some kind of simple analysis here. Okay. Or what were the sales? I mean, so if I compare the sales, right, what were the sales compared to last quarter, this quarter, or last year and this year? So these kind of analysis or these kind of analytics, I mean, so was popular actually in the traditional computing kind of things here. But let me tell you now, because of the rise in data and the rise in different forms of data also, now the traditional computing did not work here actually. All right. Because see, if you look at the data, right, now you can't apply the same kind of approach on multiple different data, right? What I mean to say is, now if you're having CSV and like, say, for example, some kind of table data or simple data, right? So the way you approach, I mean, okay, so that would be different here. Or the insights you derive from the data, right? So that would be different here. Now, can you apply the same kind of techniques on different formats of data? No, right? For example, let us take the case of big data systems here. Okay. So where the data generation is into different formats here. As I told you, if you take the case of file, now if you take the case of Hadoop, right? So Hadoop stored the data in its file systems here. Hadoop distributed file system, we call it as. Sorry. Now, similarly, now let's say, for example, now we have some other kind of forms like a Parquet file, so which could be interoperable on multiple machines here. Okay, so multiple compute resources here. So where you can store the data in a compressed file format here. Okay, so because huge amounts of data is getting generated, and in order to capture that kind of data, right? So today we are dealing with some kind of, advanced kind of this kind of file systems here. So that is where this Parquet and again all these kind of Avro, these kind of files have been arised. Now, if you look at Meta, if you look at X, Twitter, I mean, okay. So these, I mean, organizations use these kind of file systems a lot, guys. They don't work with the traditional kind of CSV files or some other kind of data. Now, even at Microsoft and even Amazon, Google, or again, if you look at Apple, right? So they work with some kind of compressed file kind of formats also. Because the thing is, now the data generation is into more different kinds of format. And again, in order to capture all such kind of data, like for example, it is not possible to deal with all this kind of different formats of data with the traditional computing. And so again, in order to dig out some kind of meaningful insights from the data, right, it requires some different compute resources here. Now, normally, whatever the traditional process or the whatever the methodologies that you apply on the data, right, that won't work here with all the things here. So that is how, I mean, see, things led to some kind of advancements in technology. So where they, I mean, say, like, say, for example, so we came to, like, say, for example, apply some different kinds of analytics kind of things here. Now, if you look at the analytics things, right? So this is what gave to rise to this kind of data science AI kind of fields here. Now, for example, if you look at the case of analytics, right? Now, see, in the traditional computing kind of architectures, right? Fine. So before to this data science or whatever it is, so we were actually, I mean, like, for example, applying some kind of descriptive analytics kind of things on the data here. Okay, so you people are working in analytics field, but have you ever wondered what kind of analytics you're dealing with actually? So that is very important, right? Now, for example, now I have some kind of data here. Okay, so which is stored in some kind of format into some kind of data warehouse, or today, if you look at, I mean, we are speaking about data lakes here. Okay, and again, see on top of that one, so you apply some kind of, I mean, say analysis on the data. So you use some kind of BI tool. Now, this is what the process is going on, right? And again, you come up with some kind of insights from the data. All right. So see, what is the insight that you're digging out from some kind of data? So that is important, right? So for example, as I told you, now today we are able to, like, say, for example, come up with only some kind of simple kind of comparative analysis. Like, for example, if I take the case of sales data, so what are the sales analysis here? So what, I mean, I'll compare things like what were the sales last week or this week, last quarter, this quarter, or let's say, for example, last year and this year. Or what are the, like, for example, sales comparison? I mean, for example, compared with last 5 years or 3 years, I mean, down the lane here. Okay. So this is what is happening in the regular kind of analysis here. But is this sufficient? I mean, in order to, I mean, dig out, like, for example, is this sufficient? No, right? Because see, now today organizations are not relying only on this kind of analysis here. Because let me tell you guys, now, if a particular customer is purchasing some kind of product, right? So the organization is also thinking about, like, say, for example, why that customer is purchasing that kind of product here. All right. So because the regular analysis won't work out here. Because see, if I launch a new product into the market, right, I should come to know, like, say, for example, which of my customer segments would purchase that kind of product here. So that is why now, if you look at, right, some companies or organizations before launching their product into the market, right, they do this kind of market analysis here. So they apply different kinds of statistical approaches or different kinds of analytics methods on the data, and again they come, derive some kind of insights, like who are the customers who can purchase some kind of products with me, or who are the other kind of customers who can, like, say, for example, give me some kind of sales here. Likewise, now if you look at, right, for example, simple kind of analysis, I'll tell you. Now we're having n number of mobile brands here. All right, so we're having Apple, we're having Samsung, which are the same league of like, say, for example, products here. On the other hand, we are also able to get the similar kind of features in some other kind of mobile brands also, which are again with a cheaper price here. Now, why I'm telling you all these things, right? Okay, because let me tell you how the retail industry works here. Let me tell you with a simple scenario, because if I give you retail scenario, right, you can still understand in much better way. All right. So, for example, now any kind of retail industry, if you take it, for example, there would be lot of customers, okay, so who would be giving me the sales up to, like, say, for example, 10,000 or 20,000 kind of, rupees here in terms of sales here. But see, there would be only hardly few customers who can give me 1 lakh sales. Yes or no? So, for example, you went to a store, guys. All right. Now, see, what are the kind of sales that you do? For example, so more 90% of the, like, say, for example, customer segment lies in this kind of regions. That is why now these kind of retailers or organizations, see, they want to, like, for example, apply the different kinds of analytics methods on these kind of segments here. Because see, now they do not worry about the kind of customers that who would give me 1 lakh kind of sales here. Because see, hardly I'll be getting such kind of customers, right? Fine. And again, see, every time I'll be getting some kind of customers into these kind of segment only. So that is why what are the discounts or what are the products, so they launch in the market, right? They actually focus on these kind of segment, because see, a lot of sales comes from this kind of segment only, not from the, like, for example, people who give me 1 lakh or more than 1 lakh kind of sales. Hardly I'll be getting those kind of customers here. All right. And anyways, let me tell you, so if such kind of customer comes to a particular retail store, right? So he will be purchasing any kind of thing here. Okay. So, but again, see, I can't apply some kind of discounts on him. Fine. So, but again, see, if I apply some kind of analytics methods or some kind of discounts or come up with some kind of, like, for example, insights, right? I can even figure out, like, for example, as I told you, if I launch any kind of new product in the market, right? So, certain customer segment would be purchasing, or this kind of customers would be giving me a lot of sales here. So, that is where this kind of approach or this kind of thinking has given rise to this kind of fields here, data science or AI or some kind of things here. All right. So now, see, now descriptive analytics tells you what happened in the data. So as I told you, right, for example, comparative analysis here. So, okay, so what were the sales last week or this week or last quarter or this quarter? Kind of things here. And again, see, now on the other hand, so if you look at the diagnostic analytics, right? So why did it happen? Like, so for example, now let me also give you some other example here. Say, for example, you got some kind of profit here. Now, if you got profit, that's okay. Now, if you got loss, right? For example, let me tell you in this way. So after comparing the last quarters, right? Okay, so think that suppose let's say you got some kind of loss figures here. Now you would be thinking like, why did you got some kind of loss, right? Why you went to into loss figures actually? So what were the things? So how the things went wrong actually? So you'd be, figuring out those kind of things here. So that is about diagnostic analytics here. All right. And again, see, predictive analytics is something like, for example, based on the past data and the current data, right? You'd be predicting some kind of things here. For example, it could be any kind of prediction, guys. Okay, it applies to different kinds of fields here. All right. So, for example, I want to compare, like, for example, what could be the sales of, Samsung Galaxy phones or Apple phones in the next quarter. All right. So, based on the present data or the past data that I'm having, past sales data I'm having, or let's say, for example, I want to predict the winning team in a game actually. So whether it could be cricket or any other kind of game, or let's say, for example, I want to predict some kind of disease, some kind of things here. So what could be the outcomes of some kind of disease here? Okay. So I mean, see this kind of prediction analysis, right, or analytics, right? So it could be applied in multiple things here. Again, see prescriptive analytics here. How can we make it happen? Okay, so now let me tell you. So prescriptive analytics will deal in such kind of things, right? Like, say, for example, now there are multiple outcomes with a certain scenario here. All right. So let's say, for example, I'll tell you in a simple words what exactly is prescriptive analytics here. Now understand that. So I mean, see, you are residing somewhere in different parts of India, some kind of things. Okay. So now understand that you're having 3 or 4 different routes in to reach to your office here. All right. Now route A, for example, if I take the case of route A, right? So normally understand that it takes like, say, for example, 1 hour to reach your office here. Again, route B takes almost all 30 minutes, but there is a lot of traffic actually. All right. So we don't know, I mean, how much time it takes. Now, normally it takes only 30 minutes, but again, depending upon the traffic condition, right, it could vary actually. Or let's say, for example, again, there is route C. There is no traffic at all, but again, it would take me 2 hours of time to reach the office actually. Now, in this kind of scenarios, right? So which outcome would you prefer actually? So that is about prescriptive analytics here. All right. So these kind of analytics, right? Okay. So what is the technique that you're applying here? Now, what is the approach that you're following here in order to uncover the things from the data? So that is what is data science here. All right. Now, in this kind of approaches, right, we actually apply different kinds of analytics techniques. Now, what is analytics, guys, here? Some kind of statistical and mathematical approaches. So that is where it has given rise to some kind of machine learning kind of things here. All right. So now let us try to understand what exactly is data science here. All right. So if you look at the definition, right? Now definition, you can get a lot of definitions. Like for example, if you search it, right? I mean, so you can see a lot of definitions actually. But let me tell you, now there are some things that you need to understand here. All right. Now, because see, now, as per the data that you're having, right? Okay, so as I told you, I mean, it's not always all the, I mean, techniques apply to the different kinds of data here. So it depends upon your requirement here, what kind of things you want to, I mean, like, for example, uncover here, or what is that insights you're deriving that one. Okay, so depending upon your problem statement, right? You need to go with a particular approach here. And in that approach, right? Okay, so normally we apply some different statistical methods, some kind of mathematical inferences in order to come up with some kind of insights from the data. All right. So if you look at the popular definition from Wikipedia, right? So data science is a multidisciplinary field that uses scientific methods, processes, algorithms, and systems to extract knowledge and insights from data in various forms, both structured and unstructured, similar to data mining. All right. Now, data science is a concept to unify statistics, data analysis, machine learning, and the related methods in order to understand and analyze actual phenomena with data. It employs techniques and theories drawn from many fields within the context of mathematics, statistics, information science, and computer science. Now, let me tell you, see, from the definition, right, we can't understand anything here. Okay. But let me put down the things in as simple way as possible, guys. Okay. Now, data science refers to some kind of process that you apply on the data. Now, what is that process is? So, as I told you, it involves some kind of statistical approaches and again, some kind of advanced analysis on the data. Okay. So, where you come up with some kind of different algorithms on the data here. Okay. In order to uncover the things here. Now, first of all, see, we have, like, for example, we have understood what are the different types of data here. Because, see, now today, as I told you, data is not just into some kind of only simple kind of format like CSV or a table kind of format or Excel kind of format. So data is being getting generated in different kind of format here. So that is the reason now you can't apply the same kind of approach with all the different kinds of formats here. So for example, if I have some kind of image data, right? Now can you apply the same kind of approach that you come up with a table data? No, right? Okay, so there should be a different kind of approach. All right. So likewise, data science also involves applying different kinds of statistical methods. I mean, okay, so on the data that you have actually. All right. So that is the reason you need to understand, first of all, what kind of data that you're having and what is the outcome that you want actually. So what is that you want actually? What is that, I mean, insight that you're deriving actually. So that is very important here. So merely applying some kind of algorithm or something won't, like, for example, fetch you any kind of result, guys, here. All right. Now, if you look at the things, right? So there are a lot of examples, lot of things. I mean, so a lot of organizations are using different kinds of practices in order to cater to their customer needs here. So, for example, right from Netflix or other kind of organizations, or your Uber, Ola, or some Swiggy, Zomato, or whatever it is. Okay, so everyone is today applying the practice of this data science or machine learning in some way or the other here. Now, let me tell you. Now, if you look at Netflix, right, as you people also know here, okay, so depending upon your movie interest or your some kind of genres, right, that you watch actually, so it recommends you some kind of things here. Okay, now, what is that one it is doing actually? So how come it is working there actually? Okay, so those are called as recommendation systems. Okay, now let's say for example, now you apply, now even you, I mean, so for example, you're shopping something on Amazon portal. All right. So now I mean, see, many of you people know this one, right? Okay. So when you purchase some kind of product, right, they also recommend you some other kind of things also. Like they will show you now people who have purchased this kind of product have also brought this kind of product. I mean, so it is common scenario. Now, how come they're actually showing you this one? So how come they're actually referring you or recommending you this kind of things here? So that is where organizations are using this kind of practices today. I mean, see, so that is why I told you now organizations are not relying. I mean, see, for example, now previously it was the case that if I got some kind of sales, right, now I'm happy. But now it is not the case here. Okay. But because see, in order to better reach your target audiences, right, I should actually, I mean, give better service to my clients here. Fine. Now, if I give better service to my clients or customers, right, what happens here? Obviously, I'll be making a lot of sales, right? So that is what every organization is looking for today. All right. So that is where they're involving the different practices of this kind of data science and some other kind of fields here. All right. Now, likewise, now let me tell you. So, data science often actually involves some kind of statistical approaches, guys. All right. So, statistical approaches. Statistical approaches or methods here. Now, what are the statistical approaches? Let me tell you. Now, I mean, see, in our school days also, let me tell you, every one of us have learned the basic concepts of statistics, right? So we have learned some kind of things like what is population, what is a sample, right from the basic concepts I'm telling you. Okay, so measures of central tendency like mean, median, mode, and some kind of dispersion, variance, standard deviation, these kind of things we have learned here. Now, see, now what is that exactly? So that is some kind of data analysis kind of thing only, right? So that you're applying actually. Now, okay. Now, see, with those kind of central tendencies or some kind of basic measures, right? You can come up with some kind of analysis here. But on the other hand, right? Okay. So if you're having some kind of complex data in order to derive some kind of insights from the complex data, right? So that is where you apply some other kind of advanced statistical approaches called as inferential statistics. So in statistical approaches also, we do have two different things here, differential or descriptive statistics also people call it as, okay. And again, inferential. All right, inferential, differential, or let's say, for example, descriptive. Now, descriptive, the name itself tells you what is descriptive, guys. Descriptive is some kind of simple analysis. So, using, as I told you, using some kind of measures like mean, median, mode. Okay, so again, some other kind of measures, you come up with some kind of analysis on the data. So, like, say, for example, what are the average sales here? So, what are the top sales I got from different cities here? Or, like, say, for example, what are the top 10 products in a particular store here? All right. So, or which store or which location is giving me a lot of sales here. So, likewise, you can come up with different kinds of analysis here. All right. But let's say, for example, if in case I want to come up with some kind of prediction models, or I want to classify certain things here, or I want to know, I mean, so which of my customer segments would give me more number of sales, or like, for example, least number of sales here. In order to know those kind of, like, for example, approaches, right? So that is where you go with some kind of inferential statistics. So you might have heard about something called as hypothesis testing, right? Hypothesis testing. All right. So now this hypothesis testing involves some kind of probability kind of things, and in order to come up with certain outcomes here. All right. So we'll dive deep into these things later. I mean, some telling you some kind of approaches here. So what we follow actually. All right. So likewise, I mean, see, now when you come up with some kind of prediction analysis, right? Okay. So there involves the concept of regression analysis. Now we have learned all these things in our school days here. So what is regression? Regression line you have actually. Okay. So, I mean, simple regression. So we have learned these kind of things here. Now classification is where, so you classify different things here based on the data that you have actually. Okay. So like say for example, you can classify, I mean, some things as fruits, you can classify some things as like say for example, vegetables or some different products likewise. I mean, okay. So likewise. Now clustering, especially in real world, right? Okay. So where these things are applied, right? Clustering, let me tell you. So customer segmentation, product recommendation. Okay, so all these things involve certain kind of clustering, some advanced machine learning kind of approaches here. All right, now for all these things, I mean, so basically what you require is a good understanding of statistical approaches. I'm not telling you that you need to be, I mean, expert in some kind of statistics, sir. No, we do not want any kind of experts here. Okay, so even if you do not have any kind of like for example, even if you're not expert into some kind of mathematical approaches, that is okay, fine. But if you can know where to apply some kind of things here, so that is enough actually. So that is what we'll be learning as part of a course also, and that is what it requires actually in order for you to become some kind of data scientist or machine learning kind of things here. See, now it will take some kind of time for you to practice, and again, like say for example, come up with different things here. But again, let me tell you, so this is what you people should possess actually. All right. Now, so as I told you, you apply the different concepts of descriptive and inferential kind of statistics, and you come up with some kind of, I mean, analysis on the data or some kind of outcomes or insights from the data here. All right. Now, again, if you look at the case of machine learning, right? Now, what is this machine learning? What is this AI? All right. Now, see, as per the, I mean, it's like, for example, many people get confused. Like, for example, they relate data science with, like, for example, AI and certain things here. But to be frank, actually, see, it looks like all of them are similar kind of things. But again, let me tell you, by the practical applications, right, it is something different here. All right. So, for example, now we have this popular terms here. Okay. So, like data scientist or data science. Okay. So, machine learning. All right. And again, like, so for example, AI, artificial intelligence, and again, deep learning. All right. And again, let's say, for example, you have again today the other popular thing is generative AI. Now, what is all these things here? Let us try to understand. Okay. So, in detail here. So, okay. So, I'll tell you these things later. I mean, so what are the skill set required here actually? Now, let us try to understand few things here. So, components of data science here. Okay. So, as I told you, so let's say, for example, now it involves the different kinds of practices here. Data science is more thing about statistical inferences and again, machine learning kind of concepts here. All right. So, I mean, see, statistics now, if you look at, right, so I told you what is the kind of statistics that you apply on the data here. Now, machine learning is where now you, for example, if you want to predict some kind of things, right, you come up with some kind of algorithms on the data here. You apply certain algorithms on the data and again, you keep on, like, say, for example, checking its accuracy and testing its accuracy. All right. So with different models here. So which model suit the data? So you finally come up with such a certain kind of accuracy or certain kind of models. So it's always all about training your model with the data. I mean, training model in the sense, like, say, for example, using some kind of algorithm practices here. Okay. So you apply that kind of algorithm and again, you come up with certain kind of accuracy or certain things here. So we'll discuss it later, what exactly those things are. All right. Now, finally, again, what is that you communicate with your end user here? So visualization, right? Fine. Now, see, let me tell you now one thing here. Okay. So now visualization in the sense, like, say, for example, so how do you communicate the end results or some kind of results? I mean, okay, so through some kind of visualization only. Okay. So these are the skill set required in order to become a data scientist or a machine learning engineer. All right. Now, on the other hand, right, if you look at some other kind of AI kind of things, right? So especially you need to understand I mean, see AI when it comes to the case of AI, right? So there are subfields of AI like for example, machine learning, deep learning, and generative AI. All right. So now let us try to understand what exactly these things are actually. So I'll give you some kind of comparative analysis. Okay. So now, what exactly is AI? What is ML and what is DL here? Okay. Now, if you look at this kind of image, right? See, machine learning is a subdomain or is a part of AI actually. All right. So it's a part of AI. Now, deep learning again is some other part of machine learning. Okay. So what exactly the difference? I'll tell you now. All right. And generative AI, if you ask me, right? So it is part of DL. Okay, so what exactly these things are, let us try to understand now. All right. So if you look at artificial intelligence, right? Just a minute, guys. Fine. So if you look at AI, right? So AI involves techniques that equip computers to emulate human behavior, enabling them to learn, make decisions, recognize patterns, and solve complex problems in a manner akin to human intelligence. Now, let me tell you, see how actually, now the father of artificial intelligence, that is Alan Turing, right? Okay, so you were the person who has actually coined this term, AI, artificial intelligence. So, I mean, computers can also think and could mimic human behavior. So that is what he told actually. But how things work, I mean, so he told that, I mean, computers learn through experience, I mean, through the past data here. Okay. So that has given to rise, I mean, see, given rise to some kind of machine learning. Now, this is all about artificial intelligence only. But again, how artificial intelligence works here, you need to understand the things here. All right. So now let us try to understand in detail about this kind of things here. Now, what is AI? So, as the name itself tells you, artificial intelligence is defined as the ability of machines to mimic human behavior. All right. So, to mimic human behavior. That means, see what Alan Turing told you, no? So, he came up with an idea that, I mean, see, I mean, if humans can, like, for example, train machines, right? Even, like, for example, train machines that, I mean, it can also think just like, I mean, like, for example, humans, right? Okay. So, that is artificial intelligence actually. So, that means the ability of machines to mimic human behavior, just like we can understand certain things, we can analyze certain things here, okay, we can recognize certain things, right? Okay, if that intelligence kind of things if we can put into a certain machine, right? Okay, so that is AI. Now if you take the case of self-driving autonomous cars, right? Okay, so what is that thing that is able, Tesla car, and you people know it, right? Okay, so how that is working actually, so what are the technology behind that ones? Okay, so how that they are implementing or putting that kind of intelligence into that kind of, like for example, auto actually. All right. So that kind of career. So that is what is AI. But what exactly, how it exactly it is working actually, you need to understand the things behind that one. All right. So if you look at this thing, right? So it encompasses a broad range of techniques and approaches aimed at enabling machines to perceive, reason, learn, and make decisions. Now, what does this mean is, how does machines work here? How does machines learn here? You need to first of all understand those things here. Now machines understand from the data that you actually feed to it actually. Now if you look at things, right? Okay, let me tell you certain things. You feed some kind of data, you apply some kind of algorithm practices on the data or approaches on the data. So what happens here, the machine tries to learn from the data that you are giving it actually. So, okay, so that's how the machine learns from the past data. And again, it comes up with certain decisions or predictions or classification, certain kind of things here. All right. So now based on this kind of things, right? Okay. So, I mean, see, we can classify that AI, I mean, applications, what are the applications you are using in AI or you're developing using AI, right? Okay. So it can be rule based. It can be statistical approaches or it can involve certain machine learning algorithms. Now, what is rule based? What is statistical? Or what is machine learning algorithms? Let us try to understand here. Rule based means, like for example, it applies in traditional AI. Now what is traditional AI is, say for example, now let us take the case of a simple machine. I'll tell you, a calculator. Fine. So that is a perfect example of your traditional AI. Now you type in something, or let's say, for example, you want to calculate something. Automatically, it is giving you some kind of answer, right? The accuracy, the answer, I mean, okay, the correct answer it is able to give you. But have you ever wondered how come it is able to get that instructions and give you that kind of calculations here? All right. So that, like, so for example, machine has been trained on a particular system actually. I mean, see, for a particular purpose here actually. It can't now, let me tell you, see, don't compare it with the modern AI. It is a traditional AI. For example, even though, like, say, let me tell you, we had computers which are traditional AI. Of course, today we are able to even see computers which could able to, like, for example, predict certain things or classify or whatever it can do. Okay. So because see, let me tell you, In traditional computers also, I mean, the computer size also was very huge actually, the size of a room. We have, I mean, learned these things in our school days and in our college days. I mean, okay. Now, how they used to work is they used to work with some kind of rule-based kind of practices. Like, say, for example, you continuously feed it some kind of data and you, like, say, for example, you train it under certain rules. For example, I want to make it to find the square of a certain number here. Now, what is the kind of approach that you follow actually? You actually write some kind of mathematical expression, right? Like say, for example, x into x, I mean, so that gives some kind of square here. So that's how you train that model actually. Now, when you feed it some kind of number, it automatically comes up with some kind of answer. All right. So that was the traditional kind of thing here. Now the other kind of things is now that traditional kind of approach won't work out for the modern problems, right? Okay. So that is where the statistical or some kind of machine learning algorithms came into the concept here. All right. So if you look at the common applications of AI today, right? Okay, so I'll tell you some few applications, but again, there are a lot and lot of applications here. So if you took it, I mean, see, if you look at the case of virtual assistants, so virtual assistants, I mean, so we have Siri from Apple. Okay, so we have Google Assistant, we have Alexa from Amazon, we have Cortana from Microsoft, of course. Okay, so these are the virtual assistants. I mean, after generative AI applications, after Chat GPT, I mean, when Microsoft and OpenAI rolled out Chat GPT, right? Okay, so now things got changed actually. So now we are having AI assistants. All right. So like if you look at Chat GPT, I mean, from Microsoft is a Copilot, and again, Google Gemini, and again, so likewise, we are having different kinds of things, guys. Okay. So now those are some kind of applications of AI. Now, on the other hand, I mean, like, so for example, if you look at healthcare kind of systems, right? So how AI is involved in, so I mean, some kind of healthcare diagnosis and some kind of image kind of analysis here. So they are applying some kind of machine learning and deep learning kind of practices in order to predicts the disease outcome here. Like for example, given the patient data, right? The like for example, it could automatically tell us, like for example, how like for example, or what are the chances of a certain person that he would be getting some kind of disease or not actually. Okay, so now the disease outcomes or predicting the patient analysis here. Okay, so all those things, I mean, so we are able to apply in this kind of things. And as I told you, in retail segment, right? Retail segment, there are a lot of things, guys. I mean, okay, so recommendation system, product analysis here. Okay, so customer sentiment analysis here. Okay, so likewise, I mean, so product review analysis here. Okay, so we are able to, I mean, apply the machine learning methods on the, I mean, deep learning methods in certain things here in order to come up with certain analysis on the data actually. All right. So likewise, if you take it right, I mean, so if you look at today, there are a lot of, I mean, see, lot of domains. I mean, every domain, in fact, I can tell every domain that we are able to apply some kind of AI. Even if you take the case of cyber security or some kind of blockchain kind of applications or certain other fields here. So today AI is being applied in certain way. So how could AI help in those kind of analysis? You need to understand that thing. All right. So likewise, if you look at virtual reality, augmented reality, okay, so mixed reality. So in those kind of environments also. Now, if you take the case of, for example, now where these things are applied, like, I mean, let me tell you, now you visit some kind of automobile showroom. Now they will give you a certain kiosk, right? Or you can see certain kiosk here. Okay. So that kiosk, I mean, so they will display certain product images and again, the type of cars that you want to purchase here. Now you will get all such kind of information. Okay. So in that, using that kind of kiosk actually. So that is some kind of virtual reality kind of application today. And again, so game playing AIs also. Now there are a lot of games, I mean, so which again came up with such kind of applications here. Okay. So likewise, if at all I want to tell you, right, okay, there are different things here. And again, in banking and financial systems also, today AI is being applied. I mean, okay, so like fraud detection, credit card churn kind of things here. Okay. So different kinds of things are applied here. Fine. But let me tell you now, see, if I'm speaking about AI, right? See, AI is some kind of, I mean, keyword actually. But how come it works is it involves this kind of practices here. Okay. So as I told you, traditional AI is different. Today, whatever the modern AI we are speaking, right? So that is different actually. Again, let me tell you, it also depends upon what kind of data and what kind of outcome you want to, I mean, come up with actually. So that is how you apply some kind of approaches here. You apply some kind of technologies here. Now let us take the case of machine learning, guys. So what is machine learning here? So now machine learning, as the name itself tells you, so the ability of machines, okay, so train something or learn some from the past data, okay, and give you some kind of meaningful inferences from the data. All right. So the term ML focuses on machine learning from data without the need for explicit programming. So machines, how does machine learns here? Okay, in machine learning, so we do have two different things here. One is supervised learning and the other one is unsupervised learning. Now, when it comes to the case of supervised learning, right? Supervised learning is where you actually feed some kind of data, you train that particular machine using some kind of algorithmic techniques here. All right. And again, you predict some kind of things and you classify certain things here. Okay. So that's how the supervised learning comes into the concept here. You exclusively, train it actually. Now, unsupervised learning is where without human intervention, right? It actually tries to identify the patterns in the data. It actually tries to figure out what the outcomes are from the data actually. It tries to understand from the past data. So that is what unsupervised learning focuses about. Okay. So now if you look at, right, so product recommendation systems, or let's say, for example, clustering kind of things here. Okay. So that's how unsupervised learning comes into the concept here. All right. So machine learning algorithms leverage statistical techniques to automatically detect patterns and make predictions or decisions based on historical data that they are trained on. So you need to have data in order to train this kind of models here. All right. And again, see what is the kind of data that you actually use in machine learning here is, so some kind of data other than image format, video format, or some kind of, like, for example, audio kind of format here. So that means what I mean to say is, so if you're having some kind of textual data or some kind of numerical data or some kind of, date patterns or something, right? Okay, so you can apply this kind of methods here in order to come up with some kind of predictions here. Because see, if you're having image or video or some other kind of data, right? So we apply some other kind of practices there. So as I told you, not every technique or not every algorithm will, like for example, can be applied on the data that you're having here. So that is why you need to be very careful and you need to be very aware of the things like what the outcome you want here actually. Fine. So for example, now what I mean to say is, so I want to come up with a product similar to ChatGPT. All right. Now, what is that I require actually? Chat GPT. Now, what is Chat GPT? So it is some kind of, like, for example, generative transformer actually. So technical terms I'm telling you, but simple terms I tell you, it is some kind of AI assistant here. Now, what that can do? Like, so for example, it can assist you in generating some kind of user-defined content here. So you can generate some kind of text here. You can generate some kind of images here. You can generate some other kind of user-defined content. Okay. For example, now how come it works actually? Now it depends upon, like for example, some other kind of technologies like neural networks and NLP, natural language processing. Because see, if I ask it some kind of question, it comes up with some kind of answer here. All right, it immediately tells me some kind of answer here. Okay, so but exactly how you're training it actually, it depends upon the transformer networks here. So that is the different story. Okay. Likewise, here also, now what is the data that you're having? So what is that you want to come up with actually? All right. So it involves this kind of approaches here. So while machine learning is a subset of AI, the term was coined to emphasize the importance of data-driven learning and the ability of machines to improve their performance through exposure to relevant data. All right. So, see, you actually, what you do is you continuously feed it some kind of data and you train, that kind of data using some kind of algorithm methods here. So, but let me tell you, see, even as ML has some kind of limitations, guys. So because see, machine learning aims to address some of the limitations of traditional AI systems by leveraging the power of data-driven learning. ML has proven to be highly effective in tasks like image and speech recognition, natural language processing, recommendation systems, and more. All right. So what it does is it tries to understand or learn from the past data. It turns to identify the patterns in the data. Okay. It learns from the past data here, and then it can predict you something here. All right. So in order to come up with a prediction, right, you actually should have the data, right? The past data and the current data. Now, even if you look at the cricket score also, right? So they'll give you some kind of projected score, but how come they're able to give you that projected score? So we will say that if, like, say, for example, let us take the case of India. So if India, makes 8 runs per over, right, the score will be so and so. If India makes, like, say, for example, 9 runs per over, the score will be so and so. And again, if India makes, I mean, like for example, 10 runs per over, right? The score will be 300 or 400 something. Okay. But that is some kind of, like for example, what I mean to say is, now you can understand it to be some kind of, like for example, the lower limit and the upper limit here. In statistics, I mean, so we have this kind of terminologies, right? Okay. So that means you need to understand the final, I mean, like for example, score will fall in that particular range here actually. So that's how they involve certain statistical approaches and they'll give you some kind of projections here. All right. So if you look at the cricket score here, likewise, in each and every kind of thing, so we can apply certain kind of statistical methods here in order to train from the data actually. So that's how we can come up with the outcomes here. So see, now here, I mean, see, again, let me tell you, no one can tell you the correct figure here. So we are telling you in terms of ranges here. So that means like, for example, your sales could fall in certain category or your score will be like, for example, in cricket, if you take it, right, the score will fall in this kind of range here. So it could be somewhere between 300 to 350 kind of runs here. I mean, so it could make actually. So likewise, they'll give you this kind of projected scores here. All right. So they'll give you certain ranges here. All right. Now, if you look at the case of this industrial applications, right? Okay. Now in retail segment, right? Okay. So time series forecasting is some kind of common thing that is being applied in retail and in some kind of banking and financial kind of scenarios here. All right. So time series forecasting. So for example, over a period of time, right? So if at all I want to predict certain things, all right, or let's say, for example, over a period of last year, right, I want to identify the patterns in the data. All right. Now, if you take the case of, like, for example, an intraday trading, right? Okay. So, stock market, I mean, intraday trading, we call it as, okay. Now, depending upon the, like, for example, I mean, like, for example, the ups and downs, right? Okay. The changes will be, I mean, there will be changes in the stock prices here. All right. So identifying the patterns in the data is very important. All right. So that is about, like, for example, the time series forecasting here. And again, so after that, see, it can be applied. This time series forecasting is not only it can be applied in multiple domains here. Likewise, okay, it could be applied in retail segment in order to come up with predictions on the data, or it could be applied on stock prices in order to come up with some kind of stock prices outcomes in stock market actually. Okay. Or likewise, I mean, so it could be under, I mean, also applied in some kind of weather forecasting. All right. So like different kinds of things here. And again, credit scoring. Now, what is credit scoring here? So credit scoring means, like, for example, depending upon the customer's past data or is, like, for example, what are the historical data I'm having? Okay. So what are the chances of, like, for example, me or a certain banking system giving in some certain kind of loan here? Or what are the chances that it could, like, for example, the risk, I mean, okay, so that he will not pay me some kind of loan here. So such kind of things, I mean, so we can train from the data actually. So there are certain models, I mean, so which could help you in certain finding out certain kind of analysis from the data. Now, if it is text classification, right? See, text classification involves different things here, sentiment analysis, or let's say, for example, spam filtering, or let's say, for example, some kind of recommendation systems here. Okay. So, or let's say, for example, some kind of textual analysis here. All right. So all this, I mean, so we involve certain kind of NLP kind of task here. Okay. In order to come up with certain things here. Recommendation systems. I told you, I mean, it's different things here. So Netflix, I mean, so they recommend some certain movies or certain genres here based upon the data or based upon the kind of content that you are viewing actually, you are interested into. Or let's say, for example, when you I mean, see, when you want to purchase certain things, right? So you might have seen certain things there. Okay. So, I mean, customers who have purchased this kind of products have also purchased this kind of products here. Okay. So that is how these recommendation systems will help. I mean, again, this involves certain unsupervised learning kind of machine learning techniques here. So let me tell you, but again, see, as I told you, everything has its own pros and cons here. Nothing is accurate, guys. I mean, let me tell you. Now, people tell that, I mean, so AI is very accurate. AI is not accurate, actually. So, how AI is accurate? You actually are training that one, right? Now, how it is able to do that one, actually. Now, still, what is the current state of AI? You should also understand that one. I'll also tell you about that one. What is the current state of AI that we are living in, actually? Okay. And what will be the future state of AI? Also, I'll tell you. Okay. Now, let me tell you, see, now machine learning requires some kind of large data in order to come up with a better accuracy here. And again, see, as I told you, not one model fits. to the entire data here. So you need to continuously test it. You need to continuously, I mean, like, for example, train the models and test it here actually. Okay. So that is how now it requires some kind of time and some kind of data actually. And again, it requires some kind of, I mean, constant statistical analysis here. So, I mean, see, by depending upon the complexities in the data, now everything it can't identify actually. So that is where it given the rise to some kind of other kind of learning pattern called as deep learning actually. All right. So the limitations in machine learning, so which has led to some kind of advancements in this kind of field called as deep learning. Now, what is deep learning? Deep learning is referred to the systems that learn from the neural networks here. So it is some kind of neural network kind of concept. Now, what is neural network is? Now, let me tell you with some, again, some simple example here. Now, in our childhood days, right? When we were actually learning certain things, right? So we used to continuously, like, for example, learn certain, like, for example, now every one of us have learned in the same kind of way, like A for apple. You used to continuously write on some kind of notebook or some kind of slate or something. Fine. So fine. So I mean, see, used to continuously train. By that, what happened is it would feed to your mind like whatever you're writing actually. All right. So it is also similar. I mean, deep learning is also similar to that one. All right. So now in our brain, right? I mean, so we speak about neurons here. Okay. So that is where deep learning concept also involve the same kind of practice here. Okay. So continuously feed it some kind of image here, and you continuously train it that it is cat or it is dog, some kind of things here. All right. So image classification. I mean, so again, audio class, I mean, see, audio, video, and like, for example, this kind of analysis, right? So if at all you want to perform, right? So that is where you come up with some kind of deep learning kind of approaches here. Now, let me tell you, there are a lot of applications here. Again, your Tesla car is also some kind of application it has, because see, it will identify the traffic here. When it is moving, right? It should identify the different objects on the road here. All right. So even it has to identify a person, it has to identify certain moving object here, everything actually. So it involves a lot of things here in order to come up with such kind of model here. Okay, it involves deep learning. It involves advanced machine learning. Again, it involves some kind of I mean, like reinforcement learning also. Reinforcement learning means the system actually tries to, I mean, identify itself in that particular environment here. It learns from its different environments here. Like, say, for example, robotics here. Now, what is that one? So robotics, if you take it right, now a robot can, like for example, do a particular task. Okay. So if it is being trained in that particular area, actually. Now, for example, what I mean to say is, if I say, for example, if I train that robot in order to work in my kitchen, right? Now, if I give it another environment, right? So do you think that it can work either? No, right? Okay. So obviously did the same thing here. All right. So it involves certain practices here. Okay. Now in deep learning, there are different ways here. How you can identify objects here, how you can identify the, like for example, roads or certain moving kind of objects or locations or different patterns here. It involves computer vision kind of concepts and certain advanced kind of neural networks here. All right. So just like we, I mean, think in the same kind of way, right? So it also, I mean, we also train that kind of models in the same way here. So that is what we come up with neural networks here, similar to the neurons we have actually. Now, what is neurons? How does it work actually? It gives us kind of some kind of, I mean, like for example, signals, right? Now, if at all you want to perform certain thing here, it gives you certain signal. It will pass you certain signal that you have to perform this one actually. All right. In the same way, we actually train that particular model in the same way actually. All right. Now, for example, just a minute. All right. Now, let me tell you the difference between machine learning and a deep learning model. So, what exactly happens in this kind of fields of AI? All right. See, AI is some kind of big ocean, guys. Okay. But how do you implement that kind of AI is something different. Okay. So now what I do in a machine learning model is, first of all, there is some kind of process called as feature extraction or data pre-processing kind of things we call it as. All right. Data pre-processing or feature extraction. Now, what is feature extraction means? How does a car look like? What it has actually, it has four kind of I mean, like for example, it has some kind of tires, it has some kind of glasses, it has some kind of other kind of objects. So I extract all the features, I actually come up with all the features and actually give it to some kind of algorithm, and I train that particular model using that kind of algorithm here. Okay, that it has some kind of images here actually, it looks like this kind of image actually, and that's how I come up with some kind of like for example outcome here. So it is a car, whether it is a car or whether it is bus or whether it is some kind of other kind of vehicle here. Now, on the other hand, how deep learning is different is deep learning, as I told you, it doesn't involve this feature extraction or classification separately here. Okay. Now, in neural network, what it will do is it involves different kinds of, like for example, what we call it as neural network kind of concepts here. So, which automatically tries to identify the features and again it classifies it into some kind of things here. So that is what as like for example, a neural network is. So it is something different. We do not come up with feature extraction separately, and we do not come up with the algorithm application separately here. All right. So neural network will be designed in such a way that, see it, I mean, it involves different kinds of neural networks here. Okay. So which will automatically try to identify the different patterns in that particular image here actually. All right. And it will train up that particular model and it will classify and it will again come up with certain outcome here. Now, if you ask me, right, okay, so which is better, right? It depends upon the type of data that you have. So that is what I'm telling you. So nothing is better than something here. Okay. It always all depends upon the kind of data and the kind of outcome you want here actually. And how do you want to frame that particular thing here? That involves actually. All right. So some kind of common applications of deep learning involves autonomous vehicles like your self-driving cars like Tesla. All right. And again, see, we have facial recognition. Now, facial recognition. So wherever you go now, these are the common applications we're able to see in real world scenarios. So they will scan your face. I mean, so wherever you go. Okay. So in a medical diagnosis also, this facial recognition is some kind of common things here. Okay. And again, deep learning models which involve some kind of which is applied in some kind of disease prediction or customer patient analysis or some kind of crop management, and again some other kind of domains here. All right. So I mean, all these are the applications of deep learning. Again, in if you take the case of autonomous vehicles, right? So there again there are some other kind of applications here like self-driving cars, autonomous vehicles. I mean, identifying the different kinds of images actually. Okay. So in traffic signals, right? Okay. So they identify. Now in India also we are able to apply this kind of things here. All right. So this kind of deep learning kind of things here. Now in different cities, major cities across India, right? So the government is actually already implemented this kind of AI features. I mean, okay. So where they'll identify if a person is actually wearing some kind of helmet, I mean, so while driving or not. I mean, so likewise they'll be showing some kind of challans or some kind of fines here. All right. So they'll automatically, I mean, like for example, scan your, like for example, vehicle kind of number or whatever it is, and I'll come up with certain kind of things here likewise. So now, but again, let me tell you, deep learning also has, like for example, has lot of complexities here. Because see, depending upon the complexities that is in your data, right? We need to have multiple, like for example, advanced processor kind of systems, and again, GPUs also in order to train a model here, actually. All right. It is not that, I mean, so just like you can train some kind of deep learning model and you can come up with some kind of data. No, now, if it is facial recognition, if it is some kind of autonomous vehicles, right? It involves some advanced compute resources here. So we actually need some kind of advanced kind of processors or some kind of GPUs in order to train the model here. So that is why deep learning involves certain things there. All right. So, I mean, see, it has also a lot of complexities. I mean, so it has also a lot of limitations also. Not everything we can come up with actually. So that is why it has again from this field. I mean, so it has given rise to some other kind of things called as generative AI by the limitations that it has. I mean, now let us see what is generative AI here. All right. So generative AI is a branch of artificial intelligence. I mean, again, it is a subset of AI, again, a subset of deep learning, I can say. All right. So which again focuses on some kind of neural networks and NLP. Neural networks and NLP. Now, if you remember, just before I told you something, Chat GPT. All right. How come it is able, see, how come it is able to give you what are the content you're asking for? Okay. So for example, you're asking it certain kind of question here. It is able to tell you that one. Siri, whatever it is, okay, you take up whatever assistants you're having. Okay, Siri, Google Assistant, or Microsoft Cortana, or Microsoft Copilot. I mean, okay, so today the latest kind of GPT kind of other kind of GPT models here. Okay, Google Gemini. Okay, so they are able to give you the relevant content, right? Whatever you're asking it for. I mean, they can even generate some kind of images for you. They can even, like for example, create some kind of text for you. I mean, see, certain things we can able to create. I mean, okay. So generative AI, I can tell in this way. So if you ask me generative AI, right? So what is generative AI means? Okay, it is generate plus the features of AI. Now, what is the generate here? So generate is nothing but using the concept of this AI, right? We could generate some kind of user-defined kind of content here. It could be text, it could be images, or it could be some other kind of audio or simple kind of things here. All right. So now, so it is a subset of deep learning, guys. All right. So where it involves certain kind of neural networks, that means it actually, I mean, trains, like for example, on the foundations of neural networks and NLP here. All right. So these models aim to generate content that is indistinguishable from what might be created by humans. So generative adversarial networks here. So GANs we call it as actually. So these are the advanced neural networks. Okay. So are popular examples of generative AI models that use deep neural networks to generate realistic content such as images, text, or even music here. So we actually involve certain advanced neural network kind of concepts here in order to come up with certain user-defined content here, similar to the original content here. Now, if you look at, like, for example, what are the generative AI examples, right? So creating text here. All right, creating text, creating summaries. Now you want, like, for example, to, I mean, you are asking certain AI assistant. It could be anything. Like, so for example, now let me see, this is some kind of, okay, so this browser is some kind of Internet Explorer. Okay, so, I mean, now this is some kind of Copilot, as you people know. So even in your, I mean, laptops also, I mean, you get this one. So this is a perfect example of some kind of generative AI. Chat GPT, some kind of example of generative AI. Google Gemini, okay, so it's some kind of generative AI. Okay, so see, let me tell you now. If you ask it some kind of question, right, it automatically comes up with some kind of answer. Now, if you want it to create something for you, or if you want it to write some kind of content which you want to post it in your blog, all right. Or if you wanted to generate some kind of, I mean, matter, okay, so that you want to apply to a certain job here, or if at all you want to, you want to create it some kind of resume template for you, okay, so it will do this kind of task here. All right. So user-defined content, if at all you want to generate, right? Okay, so this is what it can come up with actually. See, you have to be aware, I mean, see what it could do and what it can't do here actually. All right. So not everything it can do it. Fine. So again, see, now creating documentation, creating pictures or images, I mean, creating technical drawings, actually, creating logos and icons, I mean, it's okay. So these are some kind of user-defined things that it could, come up with. Now, what are the models you take it, guys? I mean, okay. So whether it is Google Gemini or Microsoft Copilot or again any Chat GPT or whatever it is, okay. So these are the kind of tasks that it could do it actually. But have you ever wondered how come it is able to give you all this kind of things here? Okay. So, I mean, the technology behind this one is some kind of transformers. Again, transformers are nothing but those are some kind of advanced neural networks and some kind of NLP concepts that they work on actually. So if you dive deep into technical concept, that thing is different again. Okay. Fine. Now, if you look at the applications of generative AI, right? So as I told you, you can come up with some kind of documentation, some kind of text here, some kind of image creation. Okay. So again, some kind of video synthesis. That means you could create some kind of, a video. Now deep fakes and everything. Okay. So those are nothing but, so those are the advanced applications of deep learning and generative AI. Deep fakes, right? Okay. So you are able to see some kind of deep cases scenarios. Okay. So social media content and generation. So you want to post something, you want to, create some kind of blogs. I mean, you're having some kind of blogs. You want to post something, you want to write some kind of blogs here. Okay. So, it will help you in creating certain kind of context for you actually. So that is, the applications of generative AI. Okay. So you need to understand what exactly you can do with such kind of models here. Okay, so if I say something, I mean, like, so for example, if I ask certain things to, I mean, see, there are even, see, I'm telling you, because they do not know certain things here. Okay, so if I ask AI, right, so they simply tell, okay, is it is generative AI? Now, generative AI is only part of AI actually. So as I told you, now in AI, we are having different subsets or different fields here, machine learning, deep learning. So it depends upon the type of data that you're having, again, the type of outcome that you want to derive or the insight that you want to derive from it. Now, if at all I want to create a product, AI product or a chatbot similar to ChatGPT, right? So what things you require, I mean, okay, so that you need to very well know it. And how come you want to train it actually? You also need to know about it. But again, see, let me tell you, see, the core basic foundations of everything is some kind of statistical approaches and machine learning models, guys. So that is the basic things here. So even as part of this one, so in our course also, I'll be teaching you, I mean, see the data science foundations and machine learning here. All right. So, I mean, see what outcomes you will be getting after learning this course. See, if at all you're really interested and if at all you want to join this one, right? You could, like, for example, apply for some kind of data science roles, machine learning roles, and generative AI roles here. All right. So, because these are the things, I mean, in demand actually in this kind of field today. See, deep learning again is a separate field. I mean, so of course, though it is part of AI only, but again, it has some kind of, you're having some kind of separate roles onto that one. All right. So, like, I mean, autonomous vehicles, I mean, or computer vision kind of concepts are certain things here. All right. But again, as I told you, I mean, see, machine learning and statistical inferences or methods, I mean, or learnings, I mean, so those are the basics and foundations of this one, guys. So if you know those kind of things, you can again learn some advanced things, or you can again come up with certain other kind of context here, right? So now, if you ask me what is the future of AI, so you need to know certain things here. Let me tell you. In the dynamic world of artificial intelligence, we encounter different approaches and techniques represented by AI, ML, DL, and generative AI. So AI serves as the broad, I mean, like, for example, it is an umbrella term actually. All right, it is an umbrella term. But let me tell you, see, no branch of AI can guarantee you an absolute accuracy. This is what you need to understand here. Out of my research also, as I told you, I'm working as a research scientist here. So what the things I came to know or what the things I understood out of my experiences, nothing can give you the better accuracy here. It is only how do you optimize the things here? You have to continuously train your models here. All right. So these technologies often intersect and collaborate to enhance outcomes in their respective applications here. Okay. So it's important to know that while all generative applications fall under the umbrella of AI, the reverse is not always true. Not all AI applications fall under generative AI. Understood now? Okay. So see, these are part of AI. But again, see, reverse, if you go in a reverse way, right? Okay. So not everything falls under AI. I mean, okay. So, I mean, see, that is what I'm telling you. So it depends upon the kind of outcome and the kind of things that you want actually. All right. But again, let me tell you. So in order to master this one, right, whether it is generative AI or data science or machine learning, so statistics and data science, machine learning, so these things are common here. So that is why if you learn these things, I mean, you can get into any kind of these kind of job roles here. All right, guys. And again, see, if you ask me, I told you, right? Okay, so what is the future of AI? Now, where do we stand actually? Okay, so now let me tell you, AI is actually classified into three different terms here: artificial narrow intelligence, or simply AI. Okay, in simple terms, it is AI. Okay, artificial intelligence. So what is this one? So it is stage one actually. So where actually it is nothing but machine learning. Now what it is, specializes in one area and solves one problem. So you train it using some kind of algorithm. You come up with certain kind of outcome here. So for example, it could be some kind of AI assistant, or it could be some kind of prediction model, or it could be some kind of classification model. Okay, so where you're training it for a specific purpose actually. So that is the stage one we are right now actually. And stage two is machine intelligence. So where it refers to a computer that is as smart as human across the board actually. So I mean, see, some kind of research is going on into this kind of field actually in type two. Of course, in type two, we are having some kind of applications like generative AI. So where we came up with such kind of intelligence actually. So generative AI is part of this kind of things here, artificial general intelligence here. But there is also some other kind of, trend of AI. that is the future of AI. I mean, okay, artificial super intelligence. So where, I mean, like, for example, it could come up with a machine consciousness. That means, like, for example, it could understand by itself, it could identify itself, it could just think like an exact human being actually. So that is the future of AI actually. If that comes like, okay, so then let me tell you, Terminator 3, you have seen, right? Okay, so that will be the end actually. Fine. I mean, there are a lot of movies, right? Okay, so likewise, it could be the end of the world. I mean, okay, fine. So that is what I can say, guys. Okay, so now we are, I mean, successfully, we are into this kind of field actually. So this stage one actually, stage two, we have just stepped into. I mean, okay, so we are, I mean, you can understand in this way. So our achievement into this kind of stage two is generative AI. All right. So again, see, there are a lot of things actually in order to come up with them. And even Tesla model is also not very accurate actually. It has some kind of limitations. So even they are into this kind of stage two. They're training it in using some kind of advanced methods actually. So it would take some kind of time, guys. Because see, in 1943, when Alan Turing gave this concept, right, at MIT, okay, so that machines could also think just like humans can think here. So intelligence and something. Okay, so it took some kind of years, right? Again in 1980s, actually, John McCarthy. So at MIT, again, he gave some kind of conference. He told that, I mean, it would require some kind of advanced computing resources here. All right. Now we are able to, I mean, see, successfully, we have some kind of computing kind of resources. So we have successful into this kind of field here. Now, what about this kind of field? So if it, see, for example, in order to come up with this kind of field, right? Again, there should be some kind of much more advancements into this kind of technology or some kind of computing resources. So these things are again into some kind of research here. So if you take it right, autonomous systems here. So now, right now, I mean, see, wherever the research kind of activities are going on right now into Microsoft or Tesla or even Google or something. So we are into this kind of research actually, autonomous things here. All right. So we have successfully, I mean, implemented this one and we are into this kind of fields here. Okay. Now, but again, see, understanding this, I mean, so machine intelligence itself will take longer years actually. Okay. So in Hollywood movies, I mean, so they'll show you everything. So that is just a myth, guys. I mean, okay. So it requires a lot of things again in order to train something or come up with a certain kind of outcome here. All right. So this is the, like, for example, the future of AI. All right. But again, see, let me tell you, I mean, see, uh, in order to master this one, so about our course or something. So as I told you, I mean, see, if you look at the contents, right, I'm actually giving you in two different things here. I mean, the course duration will be for 3 months actually. Okay. So, I mean, see, today, now, as you people know, everything we are, I mean, moving to cloud. All right. So we are deploying this kind of models on the cloud as well. Okay. So you could learn these things in two different ways. So one is the data science and machine learning that you can learn. And the other thing is the deployment kind of thing that you could perform on cloud here. All right. So that is why, I mean, so it depends upon your interest here. Okay. So, I mean, so you can take up this kind of course in two different modes here. And let me also tell you something. See, irrespective of your background, you can learn things here because it involves different concepts here. All right. So, I mean, see, do not, I mean, like, take out from your mind that I'm not from non-IT background or I'm a fresher. I do not know programming or something. Okay. It only requires constant practice. That's it. Okay. And again, let me tell you the other thing here. So, most probably by 20th or 25th, I'm going to conduct another workshop. So that will be a practical workshop. I'll show you. I mean, see, now if I show you some kind of regression analysis, right? So how come we can do it in Python? But again, the same kind of concept. I mean, so on cloud, how we can do it in just minutes actually. All right. So because in cloud, I mean, see whether you take it any kind of cloud, Azure, AWS or anything. Okay. So because why Azure, I'm telling you, because it has the potential to overtake AWS. And again, today it is very trending, right? Okay, so I'll show you how you can train that model, particular model, using Azure. I mean, okay, so I mean Microsoft Azure. So you can train it in minutes only. There is a concept of auto ML. So in Azure, there is a features like you could already implement some kind of pre-built models, or you can train up your model. I mean, with whatever parameters you want here. So there are two types here. All right. So using auto ML also, it could automatically show you some kind of prediction in minutes actually. Okay, so we'll conduct some kind of workshop. So I also advise you people to join that workshop here. All right, so you will get some kind of again some kind of hands-on understanding on what we'll be learning actually. All right. So if you look at the course content, right? So right from basic Python actually. Okay, so Python for data science, Python programming, Python data analytics. I mean, so for data science, I mean, and again statistics and EDA, exploratory data analysis. Okay, and again some kind of like what we call it as some kind of visualization techniques. I mean, using Matplotlib, Seaborn. Okay, so we'll do it. And again, machine learning, the complete machine learning. So whether it is supervised learning, ensemble methods, unsupervised learning, so all the things we'll be learning right from scratch. You'll be learning actually all the things here. Okay. And again, deep learning and NLP. Okay. So how neural networks work actually, how come we can work on that one? Okay. So you will get to know them. Again, the other kind of thing, what is AI and what is generative AI? So again, a broader understanding with different examples and use cases I'll give you. All right. So when it comes to the case of implementing them, right? Okay, now, already machine learning, so you'll be learning with some kind of real-time projects here. All right. So for your hands-on kind of thing, right? I've given you almost all 10 different real-time projects. I mean, so you can even put down the same kind of things in your project portfolio. That means in your resume also. All right. And you can start attending interviews here. All right. So, I mean, again, the hands-on real-time project scenarios. I mean, so if you really are interested to, I mean, use cloud, right? Okay. So how you can use Azure machine learning and other things. I mean, so in order to implement those kind of things on cloud, so we can again dive deep into that one. All right. So in order for your hands-on kind of things, I've given you 10 different projects here. In generative AI also, you'll be almost all 3 to 4 projects will be doing it. All right. So one is the RAG model with LangChain and Hugging Face, and again, how to build your own chatbot. And these are some kind of things we'll be coming up with generative AI kind of things here. All right. And again, see, if you look at the bonuses, right? Okay. So let me tell you, we're having a lot of students, I mean, so who have trained, again, you got job, I mean, in different parts of the globe, guys. I'm having different student networks here, I mean, okay. So, I mean, I'll give you the latest interview questions, what they're asking you, even for their previous students also. Okay. So again, the real-time scenarios or the interviews, I mean, so these kind of things you can get, I mean, and the placement assistance as well. And of course, here the main thing is how you need to project yourself. And again, how you need to come up with your project portfolio. That means your resume. All right. So how you need to design that one actually. So that is very, very important. And of course, today, see, LinkedIn profile is also the main, thing that you need to focus on because today the hiring managers are not just relying on the traditional job portals like Naukri or some other kind of things here. So they are also looking actively for professionals who are into LinkedIn and active in that LinkedIn here. Okay. And again, see, once after you get job, if at all you require any kind of assistance, I mean, so we can help you in that case actually. All right. And again, if you look at the target jobs, right? So what jobs you can apply after training here? Okay. So after getting trained here, okay. So you can apply for machine learning engineer roles and data scientist roles or generative AI engineer roles. And again, on cloud also, I mean, cloud data scientists or ML engineers, you can apply for that. All right. So that is what I mean. Again, regarding the salaries, I mean, let me tell you, as you people also know, I mean, so salaries, I mean, so we are having a lot of things here. So across the globe, guys, not just India, US or elsewhere, even in Australia, Canada or else across the globe, you're having a very good trend for this one. See, let me tell you, data engineers, data scientists, machine learning people. So these will be and of course the generative AI. Okay, so these are the trending roles. I mean, in this year actually. All right. So these are the trending jobs, guys, in this particular year. I mean, okay. So last year also there was very much demand for data scientists and data engineers. I mean, so the demand also further will rise and it will even okay. So increase actually. Fine. So these are some of the statistics I'm showing you. Okay. So if you look at the salaries part and again everything. So even in India also, I mean, see, the organizations are ready to, I mean, pay you up to 40 or 45 lakhs also, even 50 lakhs, I mean, in some cases. So if you go with properly companies like Microsoft, Amazon, Google or something. Okay. It depends upon your skill set and your expertise levels also. All right. Fine. Okay, so I think I mean have given you certain information here about these things here. Okay, so now if at all you are having any questions, please let me know. Any questions, guys? Course duration will be 3 months, guys. Okay, so Monday to Friday. Sometimes, I mean, if we miss any kind of session, we could compensate it on Saturdays. I mean, all right. And again, see, as part of the course, I mean, so I'll not just simply teach you something. I'll give you some kind of hands-on assignments also for your practice purposes here. So any other things? Any questions?
Yeah, hello. Yeah, myself
Yes,
Srinivas.
yes.
Hello.
Yeah, yeah. Tell me.
So I have one doubt regarding the data science, right? Do we need to learn the SQL also to analyze the data?
See, let me tell you guys now, when it comes to the case of data, right? So data will be stored in multiple formats here. So that is why you also require SQL knowledge also.
Okay.
See,
So
nowadays what is happening is now interviewers also, in order to test the candidates, right? They're also asking you certain queries in interviews. So even as part of that one, and even for your real time also, I mean, see, out of my experience, I'm telling you, see, when you're working in any kind of data field, any kind of data role, whether it is a data analyst, data engineer, data scientist, or something, okay, you need to know database knowledge.
yeah. Okay. Okay.
Regarding the programming part, you leave it to me, guys. Python is very simple to learn. So we'll learn it from scratch here. Okay. Each and every exercise. Okay. So I'll teach you something. And again, I'll also give you certain assignments as well for your hands-on. And statistics, I mean, okay, so let me tell you, many of you people will be having some kind of doubts like, can we learn statistics? Yes, of course you can learn. So it only depends on how, see, I'll put down the things in as simple way as possible. Okay. So you can learn them. You can understand what exactly. All right. So any other questions, guys?
So I have a question.
Yes, yes.
Do we get certificate after this course?
See, certificate will be from our institute. I mean, so that's okay that you'll be getting. But if at all you want to, I mean, do any certification, right? So there are a lot of certifications. I will tell you about. So you can come up with some kind of Azure certification or AWS certification. Okay, you can come up with.
So I have another question. And
Yes.
this one will be like every day at 7 a.m. right? This course for next
Yes, yes,
three
of course.
months.
Timings, yeah, timings will again be decided here. Okay, so because we'll be conducting this program again after a workshop. I mean, so that will be practical oriented. So people will be notified that one about the workshop.
All
So
right.
then we'll decide about the timings. It could be 7:30 something. Okay,
All right.
fine. So any other questions, guys?
Yeah, Vamshi, I have a question. My name is
Yes, yes.
Venugopal.
Yeah.
So, I'm into development for the last 10 years. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
I'm into
Mm-hmm.
.NET. So,
Mm-hmm.
so far, all the developers, so far, we have learned Java, .NET, the web user interface. We are using the browsers and we are developing the applications. From the browser, we are storing the data into databases.
Mm-hmm.
So, so now artificial intelligence has come. So in future, uh, they won't use the websites. They only use these chatbots, or how will be the
They
future
won't, they
for
won't,
the develop?
sorry. They won't use websites or something.
So what will be the future for the developers? So the traditional
Developers,
coding
see,
developers.
okay, let me tell you. Developers, you will be involved in, like, for example, developing this AI applications here. It could be a data science or it could be machine learning models or deep learning models here. So developers will be constantly involved in that one. So even as a developers, I mean, so what you will be doing is you will be training your model and you will be deploying it on clouds here. So for developers, you have to come up with some kind of deployment practices also. So how you could deploy your model on cloud? It is irrespective of any cloud here. Okay. So you can come up with such kind of things here, rules like ML ops, LLM ops. I mean, okay, so these kind of roles.
Yeah, currently we are migrating to the cloud platforms. We are moving our on-site, on-premise data sets or to the cloud platforms. So after moving these data to the cloud platforms, so okay, again we are connecting to the websites only. So we are using the
Yeah.
website. The client use a website and he queries information on that page. So so to make it simple to the user, end user, so without do we need to create any chatbots like apps only? They will type something in the app, they will get the output. Suppose I'll give you one case, one example. So suppose I am generating an invoice in a web page. So we enter invoice ID and we are clicking on a print report. So
Okay.
So in future, if we use the it's artificial intelligence, how he will interact with that to get that invoice?
See, for that thing, you have some kind of services on Azure. So you have to use those kind of services in order to train your model to generate an invoice. So just similarly from your on-premises things, you are performing it, right? Okay. So on the websites, I mean, so just similar in a similar way, we can even do it with some kind of Azure services on cloud.
Okay.
And here, I doubt, Vamshi, here, so you are saying model, right? Model means, can I assume like some query or stored procedure? Is that right? Model means? So we need to give the
Of course,
input
I
and
mean,
we need
see,
to.
yeah, you can understand in that way. But here, when I'm referred to some kind of model, right? So model means the data which has got trained using some kind of algorithm. That is a model here.
Sorry, can you repeat once again? Sorry.
The data which got trained using some kind of algorithm. That is
Okay.
a model here.
Okay. Yeah. Thank
Like,
you.
so for example, now if you take the case of prediction model, right? Now, normally, I mean, so we know that everyone, so if I ask any kind of prediction model, right? So they simply tell me that it is linear regression. So apart from linear regression, we also have KNN kind of models or logistic regression, some kind of things here, right? I mean, model basically depends on what kind of algorithm you're training on the data actually. That is a model here.
Yeah, okay, got it. Yeah.
Fine. So anything else, guys? Any other questions?
No, that's it, my end.
Fine. Okay. So, okay. So that's it from my end, guys. So if you ask me, right? Because see, today, I mean, see, every one of us are moving to cloud, right? Okay. So you also need to understand the cloud practices as well. So that is why we are offering this course in two different modes here. So one is without cloud and the other one is with cloud. So it depends upon your interest levels. I can teach you in the same way. I mean, fine. Okay. So once again, guys, thank you everyone for your time. And again, I also advise you to attend the workshop. So you will be notified again. And after the workshop, so we'll be starting our sessions. I mean, okay. Okay. So that's it from my end, guys. Any final questions? Any one of you? Okay, fine. Thank you, guys. Then see you. Thank you, everyone.